Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, and this is not actually a Transformers The Last Knight update. This is a little bit of a different video, but I really wanted to make this for you guys. Really wanted to get the knowledge out there, just in case people aren't up to date on this or didn't even know about this. This video is going to be talking about the origins of Optimus Prime and Megatron, or in that term, Orion Pax and Megatronus. There's been a lot of different versions of their origin stories, all the way from G1 to not that long ago in terms of the games, or like the Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron games, or Transformers Prime, or even the books like Exodus or Exiles. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about their origins, the different varying ones, and what I consider is the definitive one. So hopefully you enjoy this video, and if you didn't know about it at all, then hopefully I help you out here. And if you knew about it but you didn't know about other versions of it, then hopefully you learn a bit more about it here. But we're going to be talking about origins, so let's get on with it. Okay, so where do we start? We have probably the two most important characters in the Transformers lore, in Transformers period. You have Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots. This guy is heroic. This guy is an inspiration to people. This guy is Peter Cullen to a lot of people. Optimus Prime is a true hero. He is what we all... I think if you watch Transformers, you all want to be a little bit like Optimus Prime. I know I did. You know, he just defines everything about being a hero. He's willing to sacrifice himself. He's willing to make sure, like, innocent races don't get oppressed. He's always there to stop evil. And that comes in the term, or in the form of Megatron. Now this is Megatron. This is G1 Megatron, and this guy is the form of tyranny. As Optimus Prime was the form of heroism, this guy is the form of tyranny. And what can I say about this guy? You know, I love Megatron. He's such an iconic villain. He always has his plans. They always get thwarted, at least in G1. But this guy is just like the definitive form of evil and tyranny and oppression and all of that in the Transformers universe. You can have your villains like Quintessons or Unicron, but in Transformers, Megatron is always the big bad. And there's different forms of Megatron. My personal favourite form of Megatron is the Transformers Prime version. Now, this is... I love this design for Megatron. He just looks great. This screams like the gladiatorial Megatron, and we'll get into that more in this video. So let's really start talking from the very beginning. So where are we going to start? We're going to start at G1. This is the starting point for a lot of people with Transformers. Of course, it's where we're going to start. So Orion Pax featured in an episode of G1. This is what he actually looked like. Similarities to Optimus Prime. You can see it with the chest and sort of the way that like the head looks as well, but obviously there's quite a difference there to the Optimus Prime that we know. Orion Pax's what his job has actually changed over the years. Sort of in the latter stages of the year, he became a librarian or an archivist, but in G1 he was actually a dock worker, and you know, this was his job. This was his day-to-day job, and he had his girlfriend Ariel at the time as well. And one day when Orion was working, he saw a group of 5 Autobots. Now we saw in the cartoon that this was actually the aerial bots, and they introduced themselves. And Orion's kind of in awe at this moment. He likes the fact that these guys can fly. It's something new that he's not seen as well. He's only heard about. And later that day, he gets approached by another flying robot, but not the aerial bots. It's, of course, Megatron. And the Decepticons, well, they all fly. You know, even if they're not a plane, they can still fly somehow. Never understood that. So Megatron, being Megatron, obviously told a bunch of lies. He said to Orion that he was looking for a place to store his wares. And obviously Orion, completely in awe of this character of Megatron, doesn't know how evil he is. Completely in awe, showed him around everywhere, told him where everything was, showed them warehouses and explained that they were used for storing energy. And obviously at that point Megatron decides, yeah, now's the time to just screw all this, and points all the Decepticons that he had with him to go and steal it and attack it all. So Orion is obviously got a little bit of Optimus Prime in him, wants to stand up against Megatron, so he tries to fight him. Megatron basically just bats him off pretty easily. Ariel then goes to his defence and gets hit by another blast from Megatron. This then makes Orion very, very mad. He takes a massive lunge at Megatron, and remember, he flies up and then he gets shot down. Basically, Megatron just gives him the traditional fusion cannon blast to the chest, and you think Orion Pax is basically done. But obviously, we know that's not the case. This is setting up for something great. So as Megatron is carrying on with the attack and finishing off the attack, the five robots, the five flying robots that Orion came across earlier, the aerial bots, come to his rescue. And they carry his body to a very young Alpha Trion. And you can tell, like, we know Alpha Trion, we know that he's a very old robot. You know, he's got like the beard and stuff, and he's very wisdomous, if that's a word. So the G1 version of the Alpha Trion in the early days, you can tell he's younger just by the voice. The voice sounds completely out of place because it doesn't sound like the Alpha Trion we know. And basically the aerial bots ask if he can repair Orion Pax, if he can save him at all. Alpha Trion takes him in, fixes him up, and basically gives him the Matrix of leadership, because Megatron had killed the previous holder of the Matrix. He fixed him up into a brand new robot, a brand new Autobot, and this guy was called Optimus Prime. And I think at the time it was a new set of defenders, like a new team of defenders, and I think he was obviously talking about the Primes. So and that's how Optimus Prime became Optimus Prime in G1. Obviously, he didn't just leave Ariel to die. They also fixed Ariel up, and she turned into Elita 1. So very simple story for G1. It did its job. For me, it's a really good story, but it's not for me the definitive story. So for me, this is where we start getting into definitive stuff. I think this is like the lore. This is the lore. And they kind of link together as well. We have in the past 5-6 years, we've had the War for Cybertron games, like Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron, and we've had the show Transformers Prime, along with a couple of books called Exodus and Exiles. Very good books. I very much recommend them. They're brilliant to read. They all have different stories. They do. They aren't all identical. They have different origins of each character and all of that. But they are very similar. They are very, very similar. So I think combine them all together like a combiner, and there's your lore. So in the games, we'll start with the games. In 2010, Transformers War for Cybertron came out, and this was a great game. We had this character called Optimus Prime. Now Optimus was not called Optimus Prime, he was just called Optimus. He was not a Prime yet, he was just Optimus, but he wasn't Orion either. And during the game, you get to effectively become Optimus Prime. There becomes a level where Cybertron's core has been corrupted so much with Dark Energon, and what happens is you travel to the core. It's a great level, one of my favourite ever games. Travel to the core with Ironhide and Warpath in tow, and the core it admits he's dying. The core of Cybertron admits it's dying and bestows upon Optimus Prime the Matrix of leadership. A small portion of what the core is to take amongst the star, because as long as Optimus has a part of Cybertron, Cybertron shall remain alive. So that is how Optimus became Optimus Prime in the games. And obviously that story went on from there and continued on in its own direction. Now in the books, Optimus, and this is what I'm on about, the books and Transformers Prime, the TV series, very, very similar. in terms of their origins for Optimus Prime and Orion Pax. So we have Cybertron. Glorious planet. The golden age of Cybertron is also always something that gets referenced, and during this time Orion Pax was a clerk. He was an archivist or a librarian, which way you want to spin it. He was a clerk. He worked in the Icon Hall of Records, and he basically just monitored all the records, all the data, all of that, and it was his job to keep an eye on it, and he was the best at his job. He was the best. He would get every single detail necessary, and he was brilliant at what he did. And over the time of this job that he had, he started to notice corruption in high places. He started to know that the council wasn't all as squeaky clean as they made out they were. Something else that definitely stuck out for Orion Pax was inequality. He found out that the people at the top were very much the people at the top, and the people at the bottom of the pile were very much segregated. There was no equality amongst what was considered a generally happy race, a happy planet. There was a lot of things going on behind the scenes that he wasn't initially aware of that were now brought to his attention. So through all the monitoring of the data records, he came across someone called Megatronus, a gladiator that had named himself after one of the 13 original primes. I'll show you this. It's a great picture from the Transformers Prime thing. I love this shot. The gladiatorial Megatronus is something that I really love, because it's such a cool version of the character, and we got to see it a lot during Transformers Prime. Even with the Megatron character, he's very proud of his gladiatorial days, and still to this day was proud of it. And he started communicating with him because he had the same ideals as Orion Pax. Orion Pax wanted equality. He wanted everyone to be treated equally. He wanted to challenge these people who were corrupt. Megatronus had those exact same qualities. He did want that. He wanted an equal society. He wanted everyone to be the same rank as everyone. He didn't want anyone to suffer or anything, and he wanted to challenge those people at the top. He wanted to challenge the council, and he proposed his ideas. So naturally they started communicating, and in the books of Exiles and Exodus, Orion Pax actually travels to Kaon, which we know is the Decepticon capital. Orion Pax travels to Kaon to actually meet Megatronus in person. It was a very good chapter. It shows you the difference in cities in Cybertron. Again, inequality. You have places like Icon, gleaming, glistening place with a lot of pride, and then Kaon's a very grimy place. It's like, say, gladiatorial matches are being held there, craters everywhere, sort of that thing. So again, lack of equality. So very good chapter. I recommend the book again. So Megatronus started gaining a following. He was the best gladiator in Kaon, so naturally he gained a following from that, but he also gained a following because of his political beliefs and because he wanted to challenge. And so after the communication, the corresponding between Megatronus and Orion Pax, they were finally ready to take their case to the council, to the Senate, and propose their ideals for changing Cybertron for the better. In doing this, Megatronus saw fit to shorten his name, and he changed it to Megatron, and obviously that's the character that we all know. So everything's looking great from here. You've got two guys, they agree with each other, they're passionate, they're going to make Cybertron better, and they take their case to the High Council. Unfortunately, this is the part of the story that it all starts falling apart. Megatron started showing his true colours to the council. He started talking about how he would personally change Cybertron, and he very much demanded to be named the next Prime, which is obviously a very important title in terms of Cybertron, and to demand that title did not go down well with the council. So Orion then steps in and starts talking about how he doesn't need violence to achieve justice for his version of Cybertron, for his vision of Cybertron. And in doing this, the council started seeing him for who we know he is. They started seeing someone that is actually worthy of the Prime title. They've not seen this for so long, and then up steps this young bot that they believe can actually be that. But obviously you cannot become a Prime unless you have the Matrix of Leadership, and in doing that, Orion Pax would have to earn that, and we'll get to that in a second. During this moment, Megatron saw all of his ambitions thwarted, and he severed all ties with Orion and the Council, and basically went into the version of Megatron that we all know now. You know, this version, this version, this version, that version, yeah, that version too. Yeah, that version, I guess. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one too. That one. And this is the new one, but I'm fairly certain it's the same. I'm not going to count that one because it's... Nah, I'm just not going to talk about it. So that's Megatron now become the Megatron that we all know and either love or hate, or love to hate. Anyway, so Megatron then, like I said, severed all ties with both the Council and Orion, took his army of now Decepticons, because he had followers. He took his army that he called Decepticons and waged war across Cybertron to try and claim the Matrix of Leadership for himself. That was really dramatic. Overtime warfare then consumed Cybertron, and again, this is where the games and this intertwine. Megatron used Arc Energon on the core of Cybertron and corrupted it, and then obviously he became Prime from travelling to it to try and save it. In this continuity, Orion Pax travelled to the core of Cybertron to try and reverse the effects. Found himself before the actual core of Cybertron, the heart of Cybertron, which was Primus, and then Primus bestowed upon him the Matrix of Leadership, and he got transformed into what we know today as Optimus Prime. So there's a little bit of backstory for you guys. I appreciate that it's a little bit of a lengthy video, but I really want to sort of talk about most of it. Yeah, it's really, for me, that is the definitive version, because it just, I think it tells it very well. It gives backstory to both those characters, and it's not just saying, oh, he was a gladiator at Chaos and he was an archivist. They tell you why they were what they were, why they did what they did, why they came into coalition, and then why things went the way they are and how they are a result of that now. You know, for a lot of people, these are characters where people just enter the franchise and go, Optimus Prime, Megatron, you know, and that's just it. With the characters, they have backstory and they have history of Optimus Prime and Megatron, but they actually have previous history prior to becoming Optimus Prime and Megatron. So I think it's very interesting. I really hope you guys sort of learned something about it. I hope you, if you didn't know anything, you learned it about it. And you know, if you knew all of this, thanks for watching anyway. You know, yeah. So hit that subscribe button to. See, I'm telling the origins and I can't even say subscribe now. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything Transformers The Last Knight, and I guess Transformers in general, because we've done this video too. And let me know what you thought about this. If you want to see any more Origin videos, just let me know in the comment section who you'd like to see. Maybe a Hot Rod or Devastator's balls. Nah, I'm joking. Yeah, let me know if you want to see any other videos like this, and if you do, let me know what character. Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Take it easy. This is a little bit after the video where I just mess about, but I really want to see if I can just sort of, like, alright, I'm gonna try and do a little bit of video magic here. So, empty hand, ready for it. Optimus Prime! Now, okay, so I'm just gonna leave him floating there. I just want to see if I can sort of stretch him a bit. Oh, okay. Put him back. Maybe sort of pull it wide a little bit. Like that. I'm going to flatten him down, and then let's bring up Megatron. Okay. Starscream's in my way. I can't see the camera. I need to rethink my life.